The views and opinions expressed by the StyleBeasting podcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the StyleBeasting podcast. Any content provided by our blog by me and the opinions by me are not intended by any melee of religion, ethnic groups, club, organizations, company, individuals, or anything blase, fucking blah. How you guys doing?
DropTop. Zaza.
Okay.
We gon' pull up in some Tahoes. Fill with my niggas and bitches. They don't get money, the motto. Shredding waves like I'm Otto. Full pockets filled up with money. Feeling like I hit the lotto. Flexing on all of these bitches. Black shirt, Johnny Bravo. Wherever I'm gonna go, these little hoes gonna follow. Told her to chill and be cool. Ease up when she swallow. Then I get back to these streets. Getting money is the motto. I'ma give them what they want. I'ma give them what they need.
Yo, we're back with another new episode of the StyleBeasting podcast, episode 52 of the brand new start of the 2022 year, episode 52, everybody. Super! Now, with the first episode of the new year, and not with a lot of stuff on my backlog, but a good amount of number of stuff on my backlog, I wanted to use this episode to speak about my favorite manga of all. Well, is it? Yeah, my favorite manga of all time, and anime too. Well, no. Let me take it back. Manga. I won't say anime because I do have a specific anime that's like my favorite all time. But JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yes!
Today is a JoJo episode where I speak about nothing but JoJo. So if you don't like it, this might not be the episode for you, and come back next week. But this week is JoJo Day. Now, before I get into like the super, how should I say this? Now, before I get into like the in-depth of JoJo, because there's a lot of layers to JoJo, and I'm only gonna go through 1 through 7 and a little bit of 8 because I don't know all about 8, and I'm not gonna go through the whole story and give you the whole spill about what happened in each episode. I'm mainly gonna give you like the main focal points and what mainly happened, and give you like some trivia on some JoJo shit, like some of that, like I guess one of them, like I always say, every stand and or person is either named after a band, an artist, or a song. Like The Hand is a band called The Hand. Kiss. What was the one? I have bad memories. Black Sabbath. I don't know why I keep forgetting that one. And Part 5 is my favorite. But anyways, so to start off, I guess I will start about my love for JoJo and how I started it. So, and this all comes off the tails of me watching the first 12 episodes of Stone Ocean, which I'm also going to get to. That I was completely wrong. I might be completely wrong on how many episodes is in Stone Ocean and Part 7 when it comes out. But my love for JoJo came from my old roommate I had. He showed me the old JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Like, this was when, I guess, the 90s, because this is JoJo Bizarre Adventure that's on the VCR cassette tape, but it was only published. It only was shown in a theater in Japan and never crossed over here on the West. But I don't think there's a way you could watch it. I might be completely 100% wrong, but it only shows the first half of Phantom Blood, which basically is just starts on Jonathan and Dio. It shows from when you first meet Dio up until the fight with Dio, not the final fight as he got cut in half and blew up on the ship. It showed him getting killed at home. But the one I'm talking about is the OVA JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where you start off and you see Jotaro and you see his grandfather Joseph and Abdul. Now, going now from the part 3, the new revamp part 3, and from the OVA, there's a lot of stuff different. So, oh shit, what am I doing? I'm jumping all over the place. I'm supposed to tell why I love JoJo. So, the reason why I super love JoJo is because the character designs are amazing. The poses are ridiculous for no fucking reason. Like, a nigga posed, and I think it was like a pose that was in canon. So it wasn't like I was like posing and monologuing in my head, and I was only posing in the monologue and nobody saw it outside of the outside of the scene I was in. Like, it was, you could actually see me posing. It was like it's like super ridiculously funny because niggas would be regular having a conversation and they'll just be strike a pose and like still continue to talk to you. Like, nigga, you didn't have to change your stance to have a conversation with me. What the fuck? And the evolution of the power mechanics was actually pretty dope, because it went from Hamon to stands to spin and stands and just back to stands, which me personally, I'm a big fan of stands versus Hamon, which is just breathing lightning karate, and it just works on how you breathe, and breathing like you can use lightning attacks on how good your breath was. Pause, I guess. But I was more of a stand kind of guy because it showed the stand first. And if you didn't read the manga like me at the first, you would thought the stand was the initial first pseudo power, but it wasn't. But when I first started, I didn't know that. So when I started watching the OVA of JoJo Bizarre Adventure, and then being in Egypt already. Well, no. I'm back on the whole power system. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the stand. I'm a big stand kind of guy. Because you could tell that Araki was a big stand guy, because after part 2 has been nothing but stands. And me personally, I think you can get more. How crazy the stands have gotten in the past recent years. Well, they've always been crazy. Compared to, let's say, how crazy the spin move is. Now, if I'm remembering this right, I think part 6 and 5 had my favorite stands in it. And seeing how creative you had to think on the fly with your stands is also another thing too. Like, niggas pulled the greatest of bullshit out their ass with their stands, and that has always been the funniest shit to me. I saw a nigga who had a stand on his back, and anybody who saw his stand, saw his back, he was gonna die. This nigga had to walk back to back with a nigga he did not know. Like a random motherfucker he did not know on the side of the street, walking back to back with this nigga. Nigga, first of all, that small, minute part of the episode was ridiculous. Because if you walk back to back with somebody you don't know, like a random motherfucker, like shit, even me, I'm gonna be like, nigga, what the fuck's wrong with you? That is like the most basic shit ever, and that was the funniest shit ever. Cause like that nigga was real life walking with this nigga on his back. Or, even though this will never happen, a fucking orangutan being into women and into little girls and doing some weird shit, and you having to beat up the orangutan. Like, niggas, you had to figure out how to fight an orangutan who controls a ship. So it's like small stuff that you have to think about. Then, like, it makes the stand fights so much better because, or depending on what it is, so much worse. Now, not only that, the names are great because once you find the names of the stands and you look up like certain stories, each band or just what the song meaning, and you look at the episode and see how the stand user and how the stand reacts, it low key is like a 1-for-1 shot. Like, I'm trying to think. Shine on Crazy Diamond was a song dedicated to Pink Floyd's bandmate that passed away. Now, the song's 13 minutes. Well, actually, no. Let me use a better example. Black Sabbath. So the lead singer of the band, as a kid, had a dark dream of a dark shadow at the edge of his bed when he was a kid, and he used it for his album cover. Now, if you go to JoJo Part 5, Episode 3 or 2, you see Black Sabbath. And Black Sabbath, the stand, is a dark figure that uses shadow to get his opponents. Now, each stand has like some correlation to the song or artist like that, and that's amazing. And there's a lot of stands in this. And so for each stand and said person for which the band or song is named after is a correlation to that song or pseudo band is ridiculous. Like, you have to think about this and put it on paper. Now, there's sometimes Araki has forgot and used the stand twice for Part 6 and Part 4, because Part 4, the alien was Earth, Wind, and Fire, and there was a stand in Part 6 that was Earth, Wind, and Fire, but he had to change the name to something else. So having to think on the fly and to make a small, minute little plan that can have a big turnaround is some of my favorite things about JoJo. And the color swapping too. Like, if my hair is like red and then like we color swap to like some purple and shit, is all that's the shit to me. And that's another good thing. The art is always amazing. I don't think there's a part in the JoJo where I was like, nah, I don't like that art. Shit, even Part 6, that's the second to lowest on my JoJo's, it's still, in the anime came out great, which I'm gonna get to later. But all that encompassing Hiro Araki's art since the first JoJo, where if you look at Jonathan, his head is small and his body looks like a huge fucking massive beast. And you see how he evolved from everybody being bulky to everybody being like super slender and super like, what's the word? Like modelish. It went from bodybuilder to being a model. But looking at the OVAs back then, I watched the English dub, and it was good for when I saw it, because to me, I thought this was like the definitive story. Now, there are some episodes I missed at like Iggy getting killed and how Avdol, because the deaths happen differently in the OVAs than the original. Like, Kakyoin still died, Avdol still died, and Iggy still died. But Iggy died by Vanilla Ice. Kakyoin still died the same way by getting punched in the chest. But Avdol died in the casket when Dio was shown, not by Vanilla Ice. And when I saw watching it, this was like, I want to say like early to mid 90s, want to say late 80s, early 90s, and the animation was top tier. So when you saw Dio walking and him using the world, because at that time you didn't know what the fuck the world was or what he was doing. So you just thought nigga was just like there was a scene where the prime minister is running from Dio, but every time he runs from Dio, he ends up back in his car where Dio's just sitting in the back seat. Now, if you didn't know if Dio was stopping time, you would just thought, why is the world figuratively like looping itself? And I thought, I was like, is this nigga rewinding time? Now, that was my initial thought. I wasn't thinking about him actually, Dio being a dick, stopping time, having this nigga run back in a circle, which he did the Polnareff, which is a fucking dick move. And as a kid, I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, this nigga was just Polnareff was walking up the steps to meet Dio, because Dio was like, yo, if you want to fight me, meet me upstairs. And Polnareff was like, fuck it, let's do it. Every time a nigga went up two flights, like not flight, like 2 steps, this nigga started at the bottom again. He kept on happening. I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on? And then you didn't know that Dio was just stopping time and pushed him down the steps. So he just ends up at the first step all over again. So Dio, that was my first time seeing Dio be a petty motherfucker, which I don't think it was in their old OVA, but it was in the new one. But seeing like how cool Dio was really cool. And the world stand design, actually everybody's stand design, even design itself, character design itself, was better in the new one. Now, I'm not taking away from the old one, because at the time I watched it, I really fucking loved it. Because in the old one, Star Platinum was going off. Like, Dio and Jotaro was fighting on the bus. Now, I understand why they had to tone it down, because Dio was just cleaving through motherfuckers like they were butter. Like, I think he just like sliced some, like karate shot some dude in the face, and he like sliced through him like a hot knife through butter. I was like, damn, nigga, what the fuck is Dio doing this? And he was just like murdering niggas. And I think Star Platinum threw now this was in Egypt, so I don't know how they're what's that word? Not geographical, but the architectural of their buildings is. So it was a building that looked like stupid, or looked like a dick. Hey yo! And Star Platinum ripped it off. Now, this before I was into like power scaling and all the other bullshit of like, oh shit, how strong is this nigga? How can he do this? I was like, oh shit, this nigga just lifting up a thing. But mind you, that's a fucking that takes a lot of strength. Star Platinum threw a fucking whole top half of a house at a nigga. And I think either the world punched it, Rush punched it, and then broke it. They broke through it. But yeah, that OVA was pretty fucking beastly. And even though in the later scheme of it, when I didn't notice it didn't tell the full story in its totality. That's how I got into not reading, but watching the new 2011 or 2012 JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And like going through like all the headaches and havoc to watch it, because when I first started watching it, I was watching in dub. I got through the first 2 seasons dubbed, and the 3rd season it stopped after the 3rd episode for a weird reason, and then started ramping back up right around like, because I started watching it in dubbed in 2014, and it didn't start coming back into being dubbed until 2018. So that's 4 years of waiting to see JoJo dub, because I guess they didn't have, I want to say money, but I don't think the dub was booming like that. But nevertheless, I still fuck with it and still watched it in sub, even though it was hard as fuck to watch it in sub too, because I had to like look for it on illegal websites and to watch it, and that took like longer than expected. But I guess I can start by fully delving into it by giving you guys my favorite part. Now there's 8 parts in total in its totality. The Araki announced part 9 JoJo lands, and we haven't gotten any information about what it's about in it all. So parts 1 through 3 to people are legendary. 3 is probably the best one. Well, 3 is the most popular one, I think. I might be mistaken because 4 and 5 came out, but I still believe 3 is the most popular one. Now, to me, I liked 4. No, I love 3 because I was a big fan of Star Platinum and the stands in that one. 4 became 4. To me, I like the story because Jotaro, even though Jotaro was cool in part 3, he was still an asshole. Now, part 4 is when I really start liking Jotaro because he became like a whole different like character. Even though he still was like an asshole, he was more level-headed. And when he was 18, when he first started his adventure. Now, damn, I'm trying to think. It's part 7. Part 7 still by run, and part 5 is the number 2. But yeah, part 7 was ridiculous. Like, spoiler alert too, because if you haven't finished, well, when you finish part 6, it's going to be a whole different JoJo. It's going to be reality warp, and it's going to be all old town road. Yeah, part 7 is basically Old Town Road. And it's not bad neither. I really fuck with it. Now, it's a coalesce of parts 1 through 3 in one part. Because it uses the hormone system, but a different power move. The spin, and it still has the stands. And it's kind of like it's a different universe because all the Joestars are different and their past is different because there wasn't a Johnny Joestar or Gyro Sapelli in the original universe. So, and spin is basically low key is almost I can't say it's almost like the spin and fucking Gurren Lagann, but it has some aspects to it. Now, the Sapelli family use it for their, because damn, what are the niggas called in France? They're the executioner, so they use it to relieve pain. So when they cut your head off, it just, you won't feel it. Now they use it. Now Gyro uses it different ways. And it has the same. It's the same thing as the hormone, and even getting the stand in with the spin is the same way as the hormone, because to get Hermit Purple in the original universe, you had to have hormone. And I might be getting this wrong, so don't quote me. If you have hormone, you automatically get Hermit Purple. That's why Dio had Hermit Purple when he first met Polnareff instead of the world. I see I was going to hit y'all niggas in the head with some JoJo trivia. Now, I like the designs in part 7. It's a cowboy race across the country type shit. So all of it is like I want to say it's kind of cowboy-esque. Like even the stands, because Scary Monsters is a dinosaur in fucking the Cowboy Texas. And I guess you could kind of correlate that in with cowboys and aliens. So I could kind of see where it's coming from. And I think people have made that comparison before. Like part 7 feels like cowboys and aliens because Jesus to get a stand, you had to go through Jesus's palm, and Jesus has a stand too, which is really fucking crazy, which I didn't fucking know when I first read part 7, but that's a whole can of worms when I get to that.
Nani?
And the stands were pretty fucking dope too. Like Scary Monsters, D4C, 30D's done dirt cheap. Yeah, D4C, Love Train, Sandman or Soundman. What was this? Now you gotta look up stands. Hold up. Cause now I had to look see what these motherfucking stands name was. Alright. So Tusk, X1 through 4, Ball Breaker, Ticket to Ride, Oh Lonesome Me, Scary Monsters, Hey In a Silent Way, D4C Love Train, D4C Cream Starter, Tomb and Boom, Boko No Rhythm, Wired, Bandom, Catch the Rainbow, Civil War, 20th Century Boy, Tubular Bells, Tattoo You, Sugar Mountain, Chocolate Disco, The World, and Hot Pants. Oh yeah. No, Hot Pants was the girl's name. Oh yeah. Like there's like all those stand names were freaking wild. And all of them are fucking either bands or songs. Well, yeah, Heya is from Andre 3000. I don't know where. Well, I know the World is from the rock star Dio. I don't know. I forgot most of these were. Oh my god! Most of these I don't even know, and that's another thing too. You have to look up the stand user and the stand's name and what it looks, what it goes to, and it's even weird too, because now you Civil War, yeah, like Chocolate Disco. Oh, the nigga name is Chocolate Disco, and Chocolate Disco is a Perfume song, and Perfume is a Japanese J-pop band. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like these niggas, like the stand has like a musical reference. Let me see what Love Train. Oh yeah, Dirty D's done dirt cheap is just AC/DC. I just got that. And Love Train is from the OJ song. Like, it's just small stuff like that make those scope of JoJo bigger. And the reason why they really can't afford to like put these names in like the anime when it comes out because of licensing and names. Like Part 5, Golden Wind is based off a Prince song, and Prince family ain't about to be playing with this really popular anime, and so they're going to get their coins. So animes that just have AC/DC, Metallica, all of them in there, if I just shout their names out, they're going to ask for their money. Like, no bullshit. And by money, I mean as in the representation of me as the artist, or me or my song being the representative, because you could depict me in a light or dark way, and depending on how I take it is depending on how I take it. Because at the end of the day, if you make a character that's called HCDC and the character is like really weird and grotesque and like he did some really fucked up shit, that's like not fucking up my name, because it's not true, it's not real, because it's an anime and animes aren't real. But I guess the likeness, that whole using my likeness thing, could come up as a very, very prominent in it. So I understand the licensing when it comes to the anime. Now, in going off for my favorite part of the JoJo Bizarre Adventure series, my, I guess, other topic pertaining to that is my favorite Joestar. And by Joestar, I mean favorite main character of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of said season. So I guess going through the list, Jonathan, Joseph, Jotaro, Josuke, or Jotaro, not Jotaro, Jotaro, Josuke, Joing, Johnny, and Josuke, Giorno, Jolene, Johnny, and Josuke Part 8 again. It would have to be Part 5, Giorno. Now, Giorno's swag in Part 5 was probably number 2 because Bruno Bucciolati's zipper outfit, it's unmatched. That scheme, that outfit is ridiculous. Now, I like the blue Giorno outfit. I'm not the biggest fan of the pink. Even when they released it, I was like, why the fuck is there why is they making his outfit pink? I never understood that at all. Like, that was my biggest like confusion when the anime started. I'm like, pink? I guess. I guess. It was weird. But Giorno's my favorite character. And I guess it's part and parcel because of Dio being my favorite villain in JoJo's. Well, as I'll go over, Dio is probably my favorite villain. Well, he's in my top 10 favorite villains in manga. That nigga was a pure threat. And even when he was gone for like generations after they killed him, or no, after he was in the ocean, shit, his whole life, the whole Joestar life, Dio has just been a big thorn in their side. In part 1, 2, 3, 4. Hell, except part 8, Dio has been. No, I think in part 8 there's I don't know if this is true, but I think there was a road sign named Dio and somebody died from it. So Dio was reincarnated in part 8 as a road sign. I might be super wrong, but I just seen people put Dio's face on a road rail and I was confused in part 8. So I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But so don't take my word on part 8, on that part 8 Dio, because I don't know if there is a part 8 Dio. That actually would have been a big deal if that was a case. But part 3 Dio was swaggy. Part 7 Dio was swaggier. Because I am still a fan of buff stands. Like part 3 stands when niggas was just like cut for no reason. Like, why the fuck is this nigga? Why is every stand look like this nigga bench 400? Well, the humanoid stands, they just look like they were just stocky for no fucking reason. So I was, Giorno, but Giorno's my favorite one because Giorno was swaggy. He had the Dio swag alongside the Jonathan gentleman swag, which is a perfect combination because he wanted to be the leader of an Italian gang, but he didn't want to sell drugs. I knowing like big picture, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Because this nigga had no qualms with killing people. But as soon as you bring up cocaine, bro, what is this? What is this travesty? Nigga, you just killed like 40 people. Like for nothing. And this is a travesty, you the travesty. But Giorno was not a mass murderer. But if you do cross him, he will kill you. But in that, and it gets in that sense, it's like, as long as you just don't do this shit, you can do anything else. And I'm on his side because I don't want kids at the age of 12, because those kids at 12 years old was beating up their grandmas to get a bag, and I'm like, because even a grandma pulled up on Bruno, was like, "Can you please speak to my grandbaby? He done beat me up for $20 for a G bag." I'm like, not a G bag, grandma. He ain't like lean your shit for a whole G bag. That's sick. So yeah, and Journal having trying to be in Journal being the dare lion, to get kids to stop doing drugs, but still like killing people, is like hilarious. And the fact that part 5 happened within like an 8-day period, that's probably some legendary ass shit. But they went through some hard shit in those 7 days. But in those 7 days, that was probably the latest story ever. I really fuck with it. And they releasing it in color, which I think they're on part 8 in color. So yeah, definitely my favorite Joestar. Even though he's not he is a Joestar, but instead of having JoJo, it's Geo. And it's just funny. But aside from the anime and manga standpoint of it, I want to get away from that and get to the music side of it, the musical references. Now, when I first got into JoJo, I didn't expect the musical references to be that over the top. I thought it was there a here and there, and a little sprinkled in. But after being the podcaster I am, I was looking up research, and I found this interview from Araki from 2009. I want to say 2009. Yeah. So, and this is from Dehe Translations WordPress, the Hiro Araki and Kenko Kazuma interview, part 1. Okay, so here we go. So this is Keiko. But when JoJo is in front of a stand, there will also be a strange poses and things like that. How does that work? Araki says, I'll eventually get to that too, with just in a little while. And Keiko starts off by asking about how his story writing is and how his beginnings were. So Araki says, my parents used to buy me all kinds of books as a little boy, like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer or Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and it was these kind of books, and it was no Japanese ones at all. So I grew up attracted to foreign countries, including the food and music, and that's why I don't really like Japanese food, which is crazy. His parents were giving him literature not from Japan and food too, I guess, and end up not liking his own culture's food, which is really funny. And Keiko also asks, you quickly got into Western music and came to love funk and other styles. And Araki says, like progressive rock. And Keiko starts off, almost all your stand names come from progressive rock bands, huh? And Araki says, why, yes. And Keiko goes with like AC/DC or AC/DC. And Araki says, using foreign band names is okay, but it's completely different for Japanese bands. That's no good. Or maybe I should say it's empathy. It's a bit strange. Like, what kind of silly things is this guy talking about? And Araki continues with, I get too embarrassed to continue listening to Western bands. That's why for me it's all about rhythm and the propagation of sound. There's a short of space between the sounds, like subtlety of strings, the pauses, the way the air vibrates. That's why I'm fine with whatever Western rock band or Western artist sing. And Keiko continues. Well, Araki continues with saying, it would be odd if anyone turned stands and used it against me, no matter how kind they were to me. I couldn't trust them. And Keiko goes, sounds like something you won't be able to let go of. And Araki continues with, that's how I created stands, the power of evil, or should I say, a different kind of power. And Kenko brings this up, which I didn't know. It would be boring if they were all powerful. It's good that characters in your manga also have weak points that they have to overcome. We use demons in our games, but we thought of adding slightly different nuance to it. What if we use them as guardian spirits? That's how the concept of Persona was born. We call them guardian spirits, but they actually great Indian gods or all other kinds of demons, just as the name suggests. Does a persona mean someone's personality or one's other self? So how should I put it? There's all kinds of other selves, from characters' current appearances to their manner of speech and even their job. I thought I combine them all, and that's how the characters in a game become more natural. And there's plenty more. And there's plenty more of the back and forth, and I'll leave the link in the description of the description box in the link. But moving from the musical references, I actually want to get back into the manga, which, funny enough, that I didn't realize, the Josuke and Whole Horse, I guess, collab that they announced a couple, like 2-3 months ago, was released, and I did not know a peep about it till like the day of. Excuse me. And the art style has changed. It's in between the start of 4 and after 3. And the reason how you could tell is because Josuke didn't name his Crazy Diamond. Jotaro did. So until Jotaro pops in part 4, he just has a stand. He doesn't know how to name it. But it's a 65-page chapter, and they release it either bi-monthly or monthly. And it's set 9 years after the end of part 3, and it's about Whole Horse. It's originally the main character of the whole thing is Whole Horse. And you find out that the parrot from part 3, Pet Shop, had a owner. You find out in part 3 that Pet Shop had an owner before Dio, and there was 2 birds, but Dio killed the man, and the other bird that was with Dio, which if you read the manga, you can see the parrot with Dio before Pet Shop. But they were placing in the anime for Pet Shop the whole way through. So in the manga, you see both birds. And it's crazy because the person who hired Whole Horse to look for the bird is the mother of the son that got killed. So it's weird that Whole Horse is taking these jobs, because seeing Whole Horse take these odd end jobs and like his past fears, like getting shot in the face after the clock incident, and him wearing 4 or 5 different watches to make sure he doesn't get shot again because he has PTSD. Like, really, this whole like chapter is understanding the PTSD of the people who didn't die in part 3, the villains that didn't die in part 3. Because when Whole Horse meets up with Maria, Oingo Boingo brothers, and damn, what's that nigga name? It's a jazz musician. Fuck. I see. I gotta look this up. What's that nigga name? It's fucking Kenny G, my dumb ass. I knew. See, that's why I can't remember these many people's names, because I get bands and songs mixed up, so I never know who's who. Aha, pun. But yeah, like everybody that didn't die, because weirdly, I thought Black Maria got killed by getting squished to death by all that metal, but supposedly she didn't. So kudos to her. And the Oingo Boingo twins, which we don't see both of them, we just see the younger one. He still's like the same size, but he has like chin hairs, like little prickles. So I guess he kind of got older, but he's still a midget. And using Oingo Boingo's book, you find out that they had to go to Morio and go get the bird. Now, when we get there, we see this redhead girl. Well, you can't see that she's red. Her hair is red. Well, I knew that her hair was red because of there was colored scans. So I was like, oh shit, she looks like Kakyoin. And come to find out, it's Kakyoin's sister. I mean cousin. Damn, not cousin, sister. And supposedly she was about to got with Kakyoin too with the flesh buds, but she got away. And she still has like pseudo PTSD from that. And she found the Oingo Boingo brothers book, which and which, by the way, that's really fucking stupid of Whole Horse and Oingo Boingo again, but I don't expect anything different from them because they still act the same. They're just a little bit older. And like reading it got me feeling like part 3 again, but just like with Morio setting. And I kind of liked it because Whole Horse is still stanced up. He's still swagged out. And now he runs into Kakyoin's sister, which I forgot her name, and she takes the book, but he doesn't know that. But he feels this Dio present, which, before I get to that, the bird is also, the little parrot that he's following is also a stand user. And that plays a big part because I think the bird was shown at the beginning of the chapter. And when you saw it, as soon as the girl looked at the bird, she starts seeing like the past. So what I'm thinking is, or a person from the past is in front of her. Now, what I'm thinking is what the stand of the bird does, it uses your memory and takes a person or said event in that person's life and put it in, I want to say real time, but like not real time because I'm trying to think. It wasn't real time. Well, no, yeah, it was, because there was an actual car coming at Horse. So I guess it's like in pseudo real time because Whole Horse still has PTSD from Dio, even though he tries to play it cool in front of Maria, but he actually fucking does, because he didn't have the flesh bud, and the only time he tried to fight Dio, he shitted on himself and ran off. So seeing Dio in front of him just brought back his old PTSD, and the event of the old senator in the car coming towards and running all those people over and using them as like tomatoes for spaghetti. That event was happening to Whole Horse, but it's weird because that he never saw that. So that's why it's weird that I think that bird that takes events that it saw and puts into your real life, because nobody in that group besides Kakyoin, Actually, no, nobody in the group saw it. So it had to be the bird had to see it and replay it in the present because nobody alive, even the Joe Stars at the time, saw that event of the senator running over everybody. So that bird is going to be really vexing because depending on what events it saw, because I think it saw all of the Jotaro fight, and if it saw that whole Jotaro fight, it's going to be a lot of the world happening, and this is going to be kind of scary in the next up and coming chapters, because now Josuke and Whole Horse has to work together, and knowing Josuke's attitude and knowing Whole Horse is going to be a little fight. And remember, Josuke don't know shit about stands. All he knows is he has like this ghost that can like break and fix shit behind him. And I didn't want to spoil too much about the new part, the new Whole Horse and Josuke collab, because I didn't want to I damn sure did tell you. Well, yeah, I damn sure did ruin it. But you can still read it. It's out, and I'm not going to put that link out there, but you can still look for it. And to cap this all off on this beautiful New Year's Day, I'm going to give you guys my recap of Stone Ocean. Now, I told you guys that when part 6 comes out, that I'll be on y'all ass dropping shit, JoJo memes at the ass, and I did. Now I could have dropped a lot more, but I dropped what I dropped. And I think I might have been wrong about part 6 being the worst one. It's not as bad as let me rephrase that. It's not bad like I thought it was. It's actually a fucking great fucking story. Like, I don't know why no. I realize why I fucking hate part 6, and I'm not going to spoil it now because we still got 24 more episodes to get out. Because I looked at how they animated it, and I think it's like 96 chapters, but it's going to be done 36 chapters. I forgot, it's in the 90s. It's not in the hundreds. It didn't touch 100 yet. So they're going to adapt all those chapters in those 36 chapters. Damn, man, I gotta get my speech better. And fuck you too, Yoshi, for seeing that and hearing that out and spotting that out too, bitch ass. But yeah, so part 6, when I saw it, this is before I even watched it, I already knew I liked it. I even forgot about it being my worst one out of the 8. Well, I didn't read 8 yet, but 7 that I read in totality. So it started off, the opening, great, fire. It reminded me of part 3, which I think this might just be, to me personally, this is my personal opinion, part 3 done better. Which I'm talking about like part 3 was bad, but like how the opening is just like how the opening was for Jotaro, how it just went from 3D and it had that sound effect add on. Like on the last episode, you hear the sound effect of all the gun shooting or like words popping up and shit. And like I said, the opening was great. It showed you what was going on and it didn't spoil too much and it showed certain characters. And what else was there that I fucked with? It gave me a Charlie's Angels type of vibe for some weird reason. Like, even though with the stance, there's a cover art with Foo Fighters, Hermes, and Jolene doing like some judo kung fu style pose shit, and I was like, oh shit, this is just like fucking Charlie's Angels. This is pretty fucking fire. So I really dig that, even though they didn't have that old man or older men that give him orders through a microphone. Actually, no, they didn't. They didn't have an old man. It's actually a little kid, Imperio. So yeah, they did. It is Charlie's Angels. It is fucking Charlie's Angels. But they adapted most of the story right. There are some scenes and some parts of the story they took out because of like the climate, because apparently there was supposed to be a trans inmate in the women's cell, but they took that out. They took the scene where Jolene's giving the like mad poses of her naked because they had to check her to see if she brought anything in the jail. So she's like giving them like all these weird poses and shit. And I feel like they're gonna take a lot of. Well, no, I think that's the only two scenes they took out. Really, everything else was in there. If I'm remembering right, my memory's bad because I binge watched the whole thing in like a day and a half. It could be the whole day, but I had to go to work that day, so whatever. But I spaced it out. Actually, no, it was 3 days because I spaced it out because I didn't want to digest the content that much. And like, because there's only 12 fucking episodes, I can only watch that. Now, I was pissed because I read an article saying they're going to release the whole fucking thing day one. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I get to watch this. Now, I thought it was going to be 60 episodes, but it's only going to be 36 because I did the math. But I thought it was going to be the whole thing. So I woke up thinking 12 episodes and I was so pissed. Like I woke my whole house up yelling because I was like, fuck, why the fuck can I not watch this whole entire fucking show right now? Like shit. But I understand money, budget. You don't want the animation to be bad in a full 36 episodes. So I understand. I completely understand. Now, the name change, the copyright name changes wasn't bad. I still hate weather forecast as a fucking name instead of weather report, but I understand. Honestly, not saying anything is like, well, funny enough, after episode 12, Anna Sweet comes out and helps out. So that's really fucking funny. But the whole scene of seeing is the memes from the manga that didn't get animated, that got animated fully, is hilarious. Like the cum room was stupid when White Snake used this memory loss technique. The Jolene tribute guest did. And what else was there? There was a bunch of other memes. Oh, and Jolene is super horny in this shit. Like, I forgot that she was like masturbating in the first opening of it. And what else was she? What else? She was like, I think there was, what was there? There was another scene where she was just like mad horny for some fucking reason. It was her and Hermes. They were like mad horny for some like odd, strange reason. And it's just mad funny. I don't know why, but the main characters being horny is always funny. Male or female, doesn't matter. So, people try to cancel me because I try to say main characters being pervs is okay. In manga form, not in real life. Not in real life. But I loved it. Poochie was great. Poochie was really fucking great. Now, they did the deal thing earlier than expected. I like that because you gotta show you gotta show why Poochie's doing this. Now, when people get to the second part, which I think the second part might be Green Baby. Yeah, if the second part ends with Green Baby, it's going to be really good. Because after that is the tail end. And that tail end of that story gets really good. and depressing. But I think they animated everybody right. Marilyn Manson fight, and that's another thing too. I don't think they had like a pseudo healer in this arc, which would when they took damage, they actually took the damage. So this is another one of those arcs where it's like do or die. And I'm after being like carried by the past 2 arcs of healing stands, I kind of miss being able to get healed anytime I want to. Even though part 5 Jonah wasn't healing you, it was I could definitely get this organ back and not get killed. Even though part 4 is just like you're getting your arm back. Like you're not getting your arm brought back, but if it got chopped off and your arm's right there, you can just get that bitch sewn together again by Crazy Diamond. Now I want to know, spoiler alert from right here for the next like 2 minutes. I wonder how they're gonna do the KKK scene. Cause now, like, are you gonna put them in white hoods, or are you gonna say they're just German Nazi soldiers? What the fuck? Ex-soldiers that just continue to be Nazis, or right there like the forefathers of Nazis, whatever. I don't know. That's gonna be an awkward way to do the Nazis in this one. I don't know. They got away with it in 2013 and 14 because the whole before everything got super woke and cancelly. You could have done that, but now you can't. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But that 12 episode run was fire. I don't know when they're gonna release the other 12. Hope it's fucking soon because I need to check that out. Because honestly, even though he's a weirdo, he has another cool stand that I fuck with. But this whole episode about all the musical references, all the stuff that really like encompasses JoJo in the whole. Let me just give you the real reason why I love JoJo in its totality. But if I want to get into the real reason why I really love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is the fights and those musical references that go with the fight. Like that should be the best part. Fucking now before the stand fights, the Hamon fights was really good because you had to really think outside the box to fight a opponent. Because if the nigga's like 3 times, like 100 times stronger than me, I gotta outthink this nigga to come out on top. And even though part 2, Joseph had a pseudo stand when he fought all his opponents and won, he still was that nigga because he still styled on you while doing it, and he beat every last one of his opponent. Now Cars is a little iffy, but it was still fire. Shit, all the fights that have been, I think there's not one fight in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that isn't fire. To me. Yeah, all the fights. Shit, my favorite part 5, when they animated the whole 7-page Muda. I flew home so fucking fast to watch that scene, man. That shit, I ran that scene back at least 7 times. Shit, I still watch it to this day. Now, before even part 5, when Jotaro beat the shit out of Steely Dan, bro, that's probably my favorite aura attack. Which, before I get into more in the fights, like the sound effects of the stands be like ridiculous. Like the Muda, it just be fire. And some of them just be some of them don't be having like battle cries, but I think the Rancha did like the vola 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 vola, and it just fly away in Italian. Or the Arrivederci of Journal, and like, but it's just like all that shit is fire to me. Like, if you could, like, any person that can make a manga fight good to me, I'm already sold. Like, when I read part 4, it was like in the middle of the anime, so I already finished the whole entire thing, and I was waiting for the fight because the fight, it made sense, but seeing the anime, it made a lot more sense. And that's another thing I understand from people who just wait till the anime comes out. Seeing it drawn and seeing the anime is two completely different things. So for the people who wait till the season 2 or the next season comes out, I completely understand you down. Now, on the other side, I'm not waiting till a whole 2 years or 3 years to see that next shit. I'm reading that next day. So there goes my opposite view on it. But I think that's it. I think that's really it of why I fucking love JoJo and what the start of the new year is. And I guess give you my podcast revolution. I'm going to be giving you guys, I'm gonna try my damnness and work my ass off to give you guys the best shit I could give you, best work that I could give to you guys every week. And I will keep doing that every week from here on out. There was a little bumps in there from 2020 with my whole laptop dying and shit and me having to get back on my shit. But back on it, shit's about to get better. Shit's about to get a whole lot more hype. I would say elevate, but that makes no fucking sense. But nevertheless, Happy New Year, guys. Have fun with your families and be safe out there. Peace.